Hey. I'm going to hit you with the core idea of my company, and I want you to tell me what you think about it. So, the reason I'm doing this video is because I, I've been working on my company for like a year now. We got 10 people, we've got a bunch of cool partnerships, we're in some incubators, we've done a lot of cool things. But I feel like I don't get to express enough what the actual core feeling and purpose is of my company. And, let me just sort of explain that. So it's like I have this like inner vision of what I think is a really cool idea that I'm sort of bringing into the world here. And, I think the team understands that. The team's with me. The team has crafted the vision, but with me. But in terms of like projecting it outwards into the world, I feel like this idea is not being projected because when we make the branding for our website or like sort of like marketing material, social media, we make it, to a certain audience. We try and craft the branding and the messaging a certain way to appeal to people. When we talk to investors, we try and talk about things in a certain way. And investors in particular, they don't want to hear about your totally new idea. They want to hear about the market that you're in, who you're competing with, and they sort of segment your idea into different areas. And you don't end up talking about what the feeling is that you want. It's kind of unfortunate. And then even with people who help out, like mentors, advisors, they have their own sort of view of things and their own, way that they're trying to compare you to other things. And I think they understand the idea the most, but they're more focused on, how can they help? How can they, bring a certain like a method in or different approaches, copied from other things into your idea to make it better. But, with all these conversations, I feel like the actual core idea of what I'm doing, Steer, it's the company, is not really being projected out into the world as much as I would like it to. So, this video is an opportunity for me to tell you about the core idea of Steer, and feel free to comment, feel free to message me like what you think about it, like if you think it's a good idea, because I think it is, and I just kind of want to share it. I want to share it in a place where it's sort of raw and unfiltered, and there's no need to try and brand it or showcase it in a certain way. So, my core idea with my company, Steer, is when we go out into the world, okay, there are so many opportunities that we are given, almost an infinite number. Like I was at my barber shop today. I was getting a haircut, and I just noticed I'm like, my barber really wants to be recognized. Like he's put in a lot of work in like with this, type of hairstyle, and he really appreciates it that, when people appreciate how good of a barber he is and how he's working on his skills and how he's making things stylistic. And I'm like kind of tired today, and I've got other things on my mind, and I totally recognize that he would be so happy if I brought up to him like how good he is, at being a barber, and how he's like, becoming very skilled. He's like teaching other people things. Like that impresses me. But, just in between, me being a little tired, like closing my eyes, thinking about the things that I need to do in my life, I didn't fully get the chance to sort of tell him that, he's great at he's like becoming a teacher, which is amazing, like in terms of haircutting. And there's just that's like a missed opportunity, and there's so many more missed opportunities in life that happens when you like when you're not in the room. Like, like people do cool stuff that is in it could be in the news. It's on social media. It's like a LinkedIn post. It's something that like you knowing them, you genuinely know like what drives them and what makes them feel proud, and you can tell from the expression on their face. Or like, I have people I know, like good friends, and they basically, you talk to them and they only want to talk about this one thing because that's what they care about, that's what they're proud of. And they post stuff, for their own personal brand, for whatever. Maybe their company posts something that they did or were a part of, and you never get the chance to tell them how good they were at it. And I think this is so important because there's so many opportunities that you are missing. Like for, let's say my company, yeah, Steer, like we want, all these investors and stuff, right? So this this guy, he's cutting people's hair. Probably he's cutting VC's hair, right? And probably if I'm like, telling him that I'm giving him good feedback about like he's becoming who he wants to become. I'm sort of like I'm keeping up to date with him. I'm giving him some encouragement. I'm liking his posts, when he posts stuff. I think that he would look out for me as well. I think if he's like, yo, you got to meet this guy, he would introduce me to them, right? And that's kind of like a big thing. And I think that we have the tools and we have the technology to allow you to do this. Even because I'm busy, I'm focused on coding, I'm focused on talking to the camera, I'm focused on all these things in my life, and I'm like meetings, emails, and I just don't have the time to be this like great person that I want to be and I think about being. It would take all my time, so and like I can't, my brain's just not made to do everything at once. And then thinking like more broadly, I don't just want to like be friendly with everybody, okay? There's people who it's like, I mean, I want to be friendly, I want to be affable, I want to be decent to everybody. But there's people who they got a lot of problems, They got a lot of problems and they're not doing anything that I'm interested in doing. And I don't particularly want to go down that path in life of getting embroiled in these problems or getting embroiled in this very specific kind of group of people that I'm just not particularly interested in. I don't share common goals, common aspirations with. But on the other hand, there are other people who at first I might not really realize the what their network is, like who they really are. I'm only seeing this one aspect of them and they have like this wider aspect that I'm totally missing from my limited interactions with them, where they're a cool person, but I sort of think, yeah, do I want to hang out with them more? Like, probably not. I probably have to prioritize like other people in my life because you have to prioritize. You can't hang out with everyone. And but if I realized all the things that they did and all the people around them who are aligned with me, with what I want to do, and I was just seeing this one aspect of them, I didn't think anything of them, but actually they have this whole world that like is also my world, and I want us to combine our worlds. Then I would totally like talk with them more, and it would make my life infinitely better to spend it with people who are in this sort of like tribe that I want to be in. So I'm trying to do this like tech startup, right? So I want to be with the tech startup people. I want to be with the founders, with the people who like they see a big idea and they like to talk about it and they get really excited and they know people who, invest money, they know people who are really good coders, they know people who are great designers, great branders, great marketers, just great team, like people who are willing to work on a goal together. And that's what brings them purpose in life. That's kind of the group that I want to hang out with, okay? And I am someone who's always, going around, right? So like I typically don't stay at home that much. I'm typically always, at the office, at this like event, hanging out with my friends, I'm going out to places, trying new things. So I'm always out, okay? And I meet a lot of people. I've met I think I meet a lot more people than most people meet. I meet a few new people every day, okay? Like I've known so many people, thousands, tens of thousands, okay? I know so many people that it's honestly extremely embarrassing. People come to me and it's like I've actually had a pretty established relationship with them. I'm not even going to say who, it happens way too often. And I actually kind of forget their name or their face just because, and I truly do try. I write down people's names, I memorize, I do all this, but I'm focused on coding, I'm focused on strategy, I'm focused on this stuff, and it slips past me who they are, okay? Which is also something that I would like to be solved. And it's also something which, yeah, it's indicative of how many people I know. And with the amount of people I know, I can pretty much do anything that I want to do. Like if I want to get into extreme sports, okay? There are people, off the top of my head, I can't think of anybody is the thing, but with the sheer amount of people I know, extreme sports, that's an area I can get into and I can know people there. I want like, banking, like I can get into that. Lawyers, I can get into that. There's anything you can think of, politics, I can get into that. I know people everywhere, okay, and I'm friendly with them, and I think they would hire me. I think they would want to work with me. I think we've had a great relationship. But the problem is, I'm just in my bubble. I'm just working on my stuff. I'm coding. I'm strategizing, and I miss out on these things. And I think it's important that I do coding. I do strategizing because that's just how I am. I want to work on my stuff, and that's what I find fun and fulfilling in life. And I'm not one of those people who I find it efficient to just spend all my time schmoozing essentially. Like I actually think I don't really like that because I think it dilutes what you want to do. It's like you have to have your own force of will in life. You have to focus on it, and the schmoozing is secondary. It's secondary to like to working on your stuff, okay? But point is, I'm underutilizing my network like by like a mile, okay? And pretty much anything that you want to do in life is a matter of connecting the right people. Like I started this company, right? We got like 10 people working on it. We got really great like branding people. We got great coders. We got great designers. We got, great people helping like with AI and all this stuff. And this was able to happen because I had a vision. I put it out there. I worked hard on it. But then myself, and to be honest, mainly others on the team that I recruited and then they went on to recruit, were able to find these people who matched the skills that we needed. So I'm not really an expert in anything in particular, although I do think I'm quite like interested in like back end architecture and stuff and like the overall vision. But it's my ability to get multiple people. Oh, the camera right here. It's my ability to get multiple people together that are complement each other's skills and can work cohesively. It's this sort of social connection that allows things to happen. It's almost like I'm arbitraging, human capital. Okay. Anyways, that's my feeling in life. My feeling in life is I like grinding. I like working on my stuff, but I do recognize that actually as good as I can get at any one particular skill, as absolutely critical as strategizing and brainstorming is, and I do think on a fundamental philosophical level that is the most important thing, but to get anywhere, it would be so much faster if I could utilize my charisma, my network, my like finding the right people, knowing the right things about the right people. Okay, so that's I'll put that all on one side. Okay. The other thing is Facebook.com. You ever watch The Social Network, the movie? That site used to be about people and communities and knowing all your friends and seeing what they do on your feed. Nowadays, uh, you go on Instagram. I don't use Facebook. I'm too young, okay? But you go on Instagram, which is owned by Facebook, and it's just like funny videos, little like I get a lot of entrepreneurship stuff, and it makes me click, and I want to know what Warren Buffett said. I want to know what Elon Musk said, and it's just like a complete waste of time, to be honest. Like I like it at the time, and I do it, and I don't feel bad about it, but like I don't remember any of that, right? And it's like imagine if it was like how it used to be where I knew about my friends. Okay, so that's the other thing. So what's my idea for Steer? I think that there should be a platform, and this is what is largely built out, where it maps like human society. Okay, it maps uh, you, your like ring of friends, and then who those people know, because every single human on the planet is connected by 6 degrees of connection. So the camera thing again. Every single human is mapped by 6 degrees of connection. And what that means is that, like, if you're able to map 6 degrees, yeah, you can know anybody. So you're only there's you, and there's only a couple degrees of connection away from anybody that you want to know. So there should be an app that maps this, okay? And using that map of who knows who, it should also be able to have like a discovery thing. You can like swipe. It can show you people that it thinks you would like to meet, and there should be like a list of people, so you can manage all your people. You can like see them, have notes about them, have their information updated to you like for review. And there should be an AI you can talk to, which can be like, hey, I met this person, blah 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 blah, and it should add them as a person, and then they should appear as a stronger person on the map. Okay, it should show things there. So there should be this sort of like map of human society should be a map. Okay, where do you want to travel in life? So I described, I want these like startup people, I want these tech people, I want this like, yeah, kind of Silicon Valley type of thing. And that's what I'm going for right now. And in a broader sense, I want people who are strong and have will and want to be great. And by mapping human society, an AI could identify the attributes, okay, of all these people on this grand map. And it could identify, okay, these are the main people you want to talk to. Do you agree? And then it could sort of push me towards it in terms of like, it could show me some people, and it could be like, hey, you want to reach out to this person about this? You want to talk about this? Hey, your friend knows this person. You want to talk to that person? And then that's one aspect of what Steer does and the goal and what I want it to be. But also that's a little annoying, right? You don't want someone who's just constantly harassing you to meet new people, right? Like, as I said, I'm busy, you're busy, we're coding, we're figuring stuff out, we're working, we're doing our stuff. Yeah, I don't have time to be meeting new people every 5 seconds. It gets very annoying sometimes. Okay, then on the other hand, there's that social media thing. I want to be able to not just get constantly reminded to meet new people, but I actually want to know about the people that I already know and who my friends know, and I just want to tell me about them. I want it to sort of indoctrinate me in my own goal. So it's like I have a goal, as I described to you. I want to be in this sort of sphere, raise money, this sort of stuff. And I want to be presented information on a feed every day, which I can scroll through, like TikTok. And it shows me like, okay, this person, let's say the barber. The barber, you know him quite well. And he actually like posted this video with this like the best angel investor in Toronto, okay? And he wants to show you, and like he would totally introduce you to this guy. The guy like did this whole video with him. He knows him quite well. Why don't you ask him to introduce you, And like, hey, this guy's cool, why don't you meet? And then that's something that's just cool. Like not even necessarily the suggestion of meeting, but just telling me that information, or telling me like it looks online and it's like, hey, this guy, this let's say the concierge that you're saying hi to every day, you put in your notes this person's name. This person actually just completed their degree on the side in computer science, and they're probably looking for a little job on the side, a little hustle. Maybe they could help you with your startup as a project, and then you could go and this guy you could have this great connection with the concierge where they're helping you code, and it's like this nice relationship. When you walk by them, you talk about the code, you have stuff, and they would be like grateful, they'd be happy, and you would be happy too, and there'd be this connection, there'd be this great synergy. And yeah, so that's what I sort of want. I want something which is fully utilizing your network and is moving you towards where you want to go. So at the end of the day, there's this, to sort of summarize it, there's this AI like kind of built in, which is like the user wants this for themselves. The user wants to do that. And then it goes into this map of all the people that exist. And it tries to find new people all the time that exist and map them out, and like who knows who type of thing. And it's like, where does the user want to be? Let me identify attributes. Let me identify vectors. Let me run an algorithm. Let me find matches for this person. Let me find their direction of travel, especially like temporally through time, like, because you'll be able to tell like how the map of human society is shifting around. And then it'll be like, I want to I want to like move forwards through time and yeah, get me where I want to go. So it's like, and then it's like identifying people, and it's showing you about people who get you where you want to go. And then you can always look at the map, you can look at people around you, and you have cards of everybody in your life so that you can personally put stuff in there, but also it just updates you about stuff they've done, like, hey, yeah, the concierge, he finished the CS degree like last month, or did you know he used to work at, wherever, like interesting stuff that you would care about. And then there's a discovery thing where it's like, hey, you consider reaching out to this person, like your friend knows them, stuff like that. And then you could have an AI where you could just chat about this, and they could be like a part of your brain almost, where they could like interface with you and be like, hey, like how could you be an amazing person today, like, and you could talk with it. You could imagine this is like the dream. Okay, you could even ask for advice where you're like, hey, I got into an argument with my friend here about this, and this friend picked their side, and this friend picked my side, and maybe I don't really feel the argument is solvable, or like it was really nasty, and it's like, what are the implications for like the wider group, And it could like sort of strategize with you about, okay, how would this work out? Like, how is this going to shift like your direction in life? Because this is all stuff which is happening and which is totally knowable, but we don't know it. We exist as like this one little node, and we only see the nodes around us, and we're unable to make these like second and third level decisions with a high degree of fidelity. So if you had the ability to have this like social information just shown to you, like with a partner, then that would make scrolling so much better, because we scroll because we're bored, right? And we scroll on dumb videos online. And I'm sure like steer is like the biggest thing in the world. I'm sure some people will still be scrolling online on funny cat videos. But like for the most part, I think that people really want to scroll about their own friends, and people want to know about their own life. And that would just be so appealing. And they would scroll on there, and they would finish scrolling, and they'd be like, I'm a great person, Like so when you meet your friends, okay, you know these things about them. You remember their names, okay? You remember their faces. You remember their wife's name. You remember their girlfriend's name. You remember their boyfriend's name. Who knows, right? You just like remembering things about them, and you're like, hey, like your feed sort of reminded you like they they really have been working hard on their accounting knowledge. They want to like they've really been showcasing a lot of like accounting skill sets. Like, why don't you ask them about that and be like, hey, that's so interesting. How do you do this accounting thing? And they can tell you about it, which would make them so happy that you knew about it, that you cared, and that you're asking them about what they're proud of. So it would make them feel happy, and it would make them pursue their own goals harder. And it would also make you like you would learn something new, genuinely interesting that you're interested about, and you would become closer. And then when you need help with accounting, they're your guy. They're loyal to you. You have loyalty to them. They have loyalty to you, and they're your friend. And you don't have to go out looking in the wilderness for this sort of stuff. So that's actually the core idea of what I'm building. And it's like, I hope you understand. It's social information. It's like I wish my brain was bigger so that I could focus on both doing all this just naturally, and also on like strategizing and coding and building a team and marketing. I wish I could do it all, but like I honestly can't. And sometimes my social battery is like kind of low, and I just forget people's names. It's like a bad feeling, but I wish my brain was bigger. I could just do both. And it's like it's my earnest want. Like I just earnestly want to be good at this. I don't follow up with people, you know what I mean? I feel so bad. I have people I haven't talked to in like a year who I owe them so much. I actually legitimately feel bad. It's just like I'm too focused on my stuff, and I just don't have the brain capacity. So if there was an app that could just go and do this with AI, with relational information, that would be huge. And like if we're talking about like monetization, like I would pay personally a subscription for this to like just have this all done. There could be a free version subscription. And then imagine, a company, right? They want to do this at scale. So a company could also pay for this for their employees, for the founders, for whoever, for their marketers, for their top salespeople. Imagine like the investment banking managing director, going meeting the different clients. He would love this. He would love to just have a place where all the client information is available to him, and he can just have it all given to him in this like one feed. And that's really the core idea of Steer, and that's what I'm working towards. And I would love to know what you think about that. I would love to know your thoughts. I would love to know if that made any sense, because a lot of people do get it. Like, I think everyone on the team gets it. I talk to people and they have a deep understanding. Like well, there's a lot of co-founders, but uh, the chief designer, my COO, co-founder, he really gets it, and it's like he's able to design the product, he's able to do all this stuff, and I swear to God, like we're on a very similar brain like wavelength. Like he totally gets it, and he like makes it happen, and he loves the idea, right? So I know people do get it, but oftentimes I talk to people, and they tell me like that's literally just social media, or they tell me, oh, there's other companies and they already help people do coffee chats, or they tell me, oh, like how are you gonna make any money off that? Like you're mainly doing this with students right now. They don't have any money. Why would they pay for this? Like, what's this even worth? And they just have all these like criticisms. And I feel like they just, obviously it's my responsibility. I think I'm not communicating it well enough. Or maybe it's just the types of conversations I'm having, the types of people where naturally like you have to communicate things in a certain way. But I feel like they just don't get it. And yeah, I just wanted to fully explain it, and maybe you get it, and maybe you could explain to me how to communicate this, or if this interests you, tell me, like help me out. And I would say that this thing that is being built already gotten like many of the core components down. We've gotten finding people down, we've gotten people cards down, we've gotten adding people very easily, we've gotten mapping people, and we have this like feed coming out. And we have an AI too. So a lot of what I'm talking about has been built. It's just not integrated and orchestrated to this like granular level that I'm sort of talking about with you. But I think it could be built easily another year. Like this is easily doable. It's just a matter of finding the right people, finding the right resources, finding the right talent. So I guess that's also what this is about, If you want to help, if this is interesting to you, then let me know. But yeah, I honestly, I would love to know your thoughts. Thanks for listening.